Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is the Self-Control Show, and I'm your host, Jason Schnitzer. Here is your next episode. All right, on this show, I'm going to talk about why it is necessary for you as a man to be dangerous. And this is something that I've heard a lot of people talk about. And I agree a lot with what they have to say, but also I'd like to maybe give my own take on other valuable aspects for your life with regards to being dangerous. Firstly, I think everybody knows, if not, now you do, being dangerous is actually good for your physical safety. You know, traditionally, it's expected that men are protectors. Certainly, that's the role in my family and in most men's family. And you need to be confident in your ability to stop a threat. And in my world, that's called being a competent protector. And that's more than, being able to put up a lot of weight in the bench press or squat or deadlift. You have to be capable of violence. Yes, are you physically strong? But what martial arts are you practicing on a weekly basis? What weapons training are you doing on a weekly, monthly basis to be able to, because, martial arts, it's all great, but once there's more than one attacker or assailant, martial arts training, almost all of them are completely irrelevant. So having weapons training, in my opinion, is absolutely necessary. Because here's the thing. Going beyond the physical, we also have just setting boundaries. So that could be physical, that could be psychological or emotional boundaries. And, I hear a lot of people talk about Jason, it's 2023. It's like we're all civilized now. It's like, why would anybody need to be capable of violence? Well, it's like, yeah, but there are instances out there of, not good people that you run into out in the world. But when you break it down on an emotional and a psychological level, for example, and you are having a discussion with another man about something, maybe you're having a disagreement and you feel strongly about something, whenever there is a talk or a discussion or debate or argument between a man and another man, at the very root of it, there is this understanding that if I don't agree with you and you don't agree with me and things get too heated, we could potentially punch each other in the face. And that has been rooted in our biological wiring for hundreds of thousands of years. It's obviously different when it's man-woman and woman-woman, because there's just different dynamics going on there. But ultimately, man versus man, that is at the very, very root. So naturally, somebody that feels physically capable of violence and physically sound and really understands that about themselves, it's not that he's going to lead with that, right? It's not going to be like, hey, do what I say or agree with me or else, right? That's not what the point that I'm trying to make here. But you come from a different place. You come from a place of confidence, of calm confidence, knowing like, hey, this is how I feel about this, and this is my line. Don't cross that line. And you are able to not only like ask, insist, or request, ask, insist, enforce, with regards to boundaries, you are actually able to follow through and enforce that boundary. And that's like a big thing because, say what you want. There are people out there that will push boundaries. It happens all the time. So physical boundary, of course, but I think what people don't think about is how that basically trickles down to emotional boundaries. Somebody picking on you, is somebody taking advantage of you emotionally at work, with certain friendships and relationships. And then same thing with psychological and friends, emotional, at work, in certain relationships, intimate or not. You are more likely to step up and not allow people to cross certain lines if you're physically dangerous, if you're capable of violence. And guess what? The more capable you are, and the more people are aware of that, whether that be your innate physical presence, the way that you present yourself because of the confidence that you have from that place, or them just knowing like, damn, this guy's got skills and I don't want to fuck with him. That is just a psychological, like, secondary aftermath to putting yourself through that training. And you will actually have to less likely be assertive with your boundaries because it will just be basically anticipated by somebody that is taking you in their physical presence. Also, too, asking for what you want. When you have the confidence to draw a line or draw a boundary and enforce those things, you will actually start being more proactive in asking what you want, because of course one of the benefits that comes from knowing that you're dangerous and being dangerous is confidence. And when you're confident in yourself, you have more of a sense of self-assuredness. You feel more capable, and you can handle challenges. You're not worried as much as to like, hey, if I ruffle this guy's feathers, like what's he gonna do to me? It's like those worries don't become roadblocks. They're just little speed bumps of considerations along the way. Whether that be in a personal relationship, business, or other areas of your life, you are going to ask for what you want. And of course, all this stuff, let's not misunderstand. Like, again, being dangerous can be misconstrued as being aggressive or threatening or harmful. But really, all I'm talking about is having the capacity to defend and assert yourself when that is necessary in your life, and knowing when those times are. Because I remember when I first started my ascension and my training, it's like, if you go through your life just being a yes man and saying yes when you mean no, not going after you want, not asking for what you want, having people cross your boundaries all the time, it's real easy to go from one extreme to the other, where it's like your boundaries are super rigid, you're super sensitive, and you're overly asking for what you want, and you're being unreasonable. So that's definitely something that you want to balance and be aware of as you're making that switch. And let's not have it be confused with the toxic side of that aggression. Because it's like, I think like one of the big divides that we have in our society right now is like there's two polarizing masculinities. It's like red pill, blue pill. It's like on one hand, we need to stick and be traditionally masculine and not even consider what the ramifications are of just being pure masculinity. And then on the other hand, you have more like, being masculine. It's like you just ignore the downsides of it, versus being like on the blue pill side or effeminate and just saying, oh, all masculinity is toxic masculinity. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, because of the few things that could potentially cause, distress and harm, let's just throw masculinity out all together, which I think is just like total BS. I think both sides are total BS, and I think that there's plenty of room where most people would like to be, and that's in the middle, which I'm sort of starting to call as modern masculinity. Just because there are no saber-toothed tigers to protect the tribe from, or woolly mammoths to go hunt, doesn't mean that it's not absolutely necessary to be able to provide physical safety to your family and be a competent protector and be able to step forward and stop a threat if somebody came your path. But that being said, there are more instances now where you also need to be able to relax into the softness of being able to sit with people's difficult emotions, being able to be there for your wife and just listen to her as opposed to solve her problems. I talked about this on previous podcasts. There's a lot that can be integrated, and I think there's a lot of room for growth, especially in this space. But all that's for another podcast. This is going back to why it's necessary to be dangerous. Ultimately, I think no man has the right to be an amateur in the sense of physical training. Forget who quoted that. If it was like Aristotle or Socrates or some Greek mythologist or something like that. But yeah, I think not only does it make you feel better, it gives you more confidence, and it actually works out to be an actual skill that will make your marriage stronger and your family feel safer around you. So hope you guys like this podcast, and a little different take, and maybe adding a few things on there about how being dangerous can also do more than just be beneficial to your physical safety. And at this time, I still have one space open for one-on-one coaching. So if that's something that you want to better be guided on, feel free to reach out, jasonschnitzercoaching.com or Jason Schnitzer Coaching on Instagram. So thanks for watching, you guys, and face the storm, and good luck out there, and I'll catch you next week.